My name is Maike. The original photograph was taken on some steps down from the prom in Penzance. And I don't quite remember when it was taken. I think it was just after I had moved to England. So it would have been about May 2012. And we just had a habit, Paul and I just had a habit of just going to the sea most evenings, because for him the novelty of living by the sea hadn't worn off. And for me it was still like, I was still in that tourist stage of, oh my god, I'm living by the sea. So yeah, it was still really exciting to, know that we were together and just that I had moved over here and stuff. So, and then we just went for a walk just like that, like we did most evenings really. So I moved because of Paul, because we had met online, and we met 3 times before I physically met 3 times, but we had been communicating for a long time, about 6 months, and we felt like we knew each other really well, and that the only way really was that we wanted to be together, like properly together. So that's why I moved. I came here with 2 big suitcases and a big rucksack on the train. So I took the Eurostar from Cologne to Brussels, and then from Brussels to London, and then he met me in London, and then we travelled down here together, and that was it. Then I lived here, which was bizarre and good. Yeah. So it was a big adventure. And I think for me, the big adventure was obviously different country and a new relationship. And for Paul, it was just being in a relationship, because he had only had one girlfriend before, and for him it was all very exciting and kind of seeing how it would work out, actually living with someone, because he hadn't lived with her. So yeah, it was like new ground for both of us, I think, to walk on. I think it was the only logic option for us. It was either, keeping communicating via whatever, Skype or email or text and stuff, but that just didn't feel right, because he wanted the physical presence as well. And, sharing kind of everyday stuff. He kind of, there's not a single day that I can remember when he didn't ask, how was your day? And when I, how you sometimes brush over something and you just say, oh, have you fed the dog? Or, yeah, but how was your day? He'd always ask. Yeah. So there's me and Paul sitting on the steps together and just taking a selfie really, and I chose that picture because we both looked so stupidly happy in it, and we really were. And it's kind of, for me, it just expressed so much. It was by the sea, and he was sort of sitting behind me and hugging me, and he looked so happy in it as well, which is, I think, the beauty of that picture, really. Just being there, just by the sea, I think, just being a bit windswept and love-swept, and yeah. In my head, I go back to it all the time. Even when I'm in Manchester, my head is down here quite often. Much more than I thought it would be, because I thought, the future would be in Manchester. But now I find myself thinking back a lot to down here. Because this is where we spent the longest time together and stuff. Yeah. I think he was very funny, and I think it's the sense of humour that brought us really close really quickly, because that kind of really connects you, I think. And he wasn't very at peace with the world, I think he was really unhappy in a lot of ways, But in our little world, like our relationship, and also with a few friends that he had, that is where he felt comfortable. So I think he needed a comfort zone. He's sort of extremely sarcastic and he's just very smart, and I'm always struggling with talking about him in present and in past tense. So yeah, he's just really kind of almost too clever for his own good, I think, and that sort of expressed itself in his sarcasm. I think that was his way of dealing with it. Very gentle, kind of, and very sensitive towards people. Although he always said, "Oh, I'm such a misanthrope, and I don't like people much." And he maybe didn't, but the ones that he did like, he really got. And I just, like now, I wish I could know that he knew that, and I don't. These are the kind of questions that you can't ask. So, yeah, I think people from the outside, maybe acquaintances or, people who don't know him that well, he was just sort of a grumpy northerner, maybe. But he was a lot more than that, and he played on it as well. He played that role pretty well. He kind of, I think he enjoyed it. He enjoyed playing that person. We were kind of really quite content, I think, in like our little world, and maybe sometimes it was a bit, maybe reclusive almost. Well, no, that's a bit harder. It's a bit like, maybe we isolated ourselves a little bit, sometimes maybe a bit too much. But then, why not? If there's enough there, then, I think we took a lot of comfort in routine stuff as well. Like, we always bought the Guardian on Saturdays and always did the crossword in the magazine on Sunday mornings. And I've tried keeping it up now that he's gone, and I'm just really shit at it. Sorry. I'm just not good. And I'm thinking, he let me do that all the time. He just let me have the answers. And I'm realizing that now. It's like, yeah, it's those little things. And then I'm a bit mad, and I'm also laughing because I'm thinking, well, that is how you love people. It's not with the big gestures or anything, because we never did that kind of stuff. It was always the little things. I was a bit nervous because I thought, I have to be sad. I have to be sadder than this. It's that constant sort of feeling guilty for doing something not good enough, not grieving well enough, or not moving on well enough, or, all that stuff, those expectations that you have on yourself. And I was sort of thinking, I should be sad, but I wasn't sad. And then when you asked me about that picture with the eyes closed, that is when it was like as if the inside of my eyelid was a film. There was all these images. Just Penzance, like, together with Paul, spending Maisie Day together and just walking on Sennen Beach, or, I don't know, taking a trip to Falmouth together. It's just Cornwall is just so connected with the relationship. So it wasn't difficult taking the picture. It didn't feel difficult. And it didn't feel artificial either. It didn't feel sort of posed it was obviously a pose, but it felt kind of natural. Coming back to Cornwall as well. This is like the second time that I've been back since he's gone, and it's the first time was we scattered his ashes off a cliff just not far from here, and that was difficult because it was the first time I was back, and he was his remains were sitting there in this plastic container, and it's just the most bizarre thing. And so I cried a lot that time, and this time it's different because it feels more like I'm visiting him almost. It's weird. It's like there's a presence here, and I think it's the memories actually that are the presence. Yeah. I think it'll become a comforting thing rather than a sad thing. But then sometimes the sadness just comes, doesn't it? I mean, it's very much like the waves out there, isn't it? They just kind of, you watch them and they're fine, and then one will come and just hit you and just soak you. And that's the one that, yeah, kind of hurts. He's my lifeline. That sounds a bit melodramatic, but he really is. He's my company now, because there are days when I'm not at work. So there was one day when my mum called me in the evening, and I answered the phone, and she says, "Oh, did I wake you?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Oh, you sound old, your voice is all croaky and funny." And I said, "Well, I just haven't spoken to anyone today. And I've taken up speaking to the dog now." And it's, maybe I'll become one of these strange ladies that speaks to their pets, but I don't care. That's one thing that loss does. You really don't care about others. It's a very selfish process, isn't it? Selfish in the, or self-centered process. I think it's kind of listen a lot more to what you need, and if I need to speak to the dog, then I'll just do it. I don't do it out in public that much. He is a very good listener, and the best thing is when you sort of stroke him and then you stop stroking him, he'll just kind of go like this, he'll just nuzzle you, he'll just come and demand more, and that's really nice. It's very human in a way. So he knows. A friend of mine who I met up with yesterday, he's a musician, and he did a little song about Paul on the day that we scattered his ashes, and it's just a tiny little piece of music, but it's lovely, and he called it "Love Comes in Long Bones," because Paul was very tall, and obviously he did have very long bones, and then Eric has these long bones, and I said to Ollie, it's like I seem to have a thing for these creatures, and he says, "Well, love comes in long bones to you," and that's what he called the song, and I thought that was really sweet. But I haven't listened to the song since, because it makes me cry so much. Well, they were Paul, they were his just everyday glasses, so he had to wear them when he was walking around and stuff. For me, they're reading glasses, so I put them on when I want to read something. But they were one of the things I first fell in love with, because I like geeky glasses, and he had on his profile picture on Guardian Soulmates, where we first met, he had these on, and I thought, oh, I like that guy, looks like Jarvis Cocker. One of the things I did was that I got these frames made into my glasses, so that is something that I'll have with me every day. And it's a little thing, but it's, I don't know, it's the little chew marks, and it's the glasses, and I'm thinking he looked at the world through those, and I wonder what he saw.